So everybody, how are you doing? It's your boy, Coach Vic, certified land investor. Glad to be here with you. Today's topic, why land investing is better than any other form of investing, well, at least in my opinion. Now, before I go on, make sure you guys can hear me. You can see me okay. Give me a shout out. Give me a thumbs up. Say something. Because I really want to make sure my voice is heard. And again, every time I go through this, it's always a new technology change that I got to put up with. So doesn't matter if you're watching live or the replay. Let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. Other than that, let's get started. So check this out. So like many of you guys know, I used to be a software engineer for other people. Now I just do it for myself. And back then, I thought I was living a dream early on. See, I wanted to make video games, and that was always my life goal since I was in the 6th grade. Now, I was lucky. Most people don't realize what they want to do when they're that young, but I kind of knew. I want to be a video game designer, programmer, creator, an NBA player, a martial artist, an astronaut, and then might have been one other thing. Well, I didn't get to play an NBA, but I did to play some semi-pro basketball. While I wasn't a professional martial artist, I did take martial arts for a while. And I was, it's not bad just because of my athleticism. And obviously I was able to actually become that professional game programmer. I'm more into the engineering aspect as opposed to like the designing and things like that. So at first it was cool, but then the instability of the market of how things are just really made things very difficult for me. So at the time I was living far from my actual job. So I had a long commute and I was driving in traffic in Silicon Valley and this and that. And I didn't like it. I enjoyed the job. I didn't like it. And I realized, you know what? I want to get a better car, Tesla. I mean, you guys heard the story before. So I was like, well, how do I make my money grow? Because at my current rate, I won't be able to afford such an expensive car. So I decided to use my time on the freeway to learn some things with podcasts and audiobooks and things of that nature. And so I started looking up what everybody does when they want to make more money, side hustles and how to invest in stocks and things of that nature. Well, I don't know about you, but when I heard about what the best I could expect was more 7 to 8%, the market average of my returns, and I would never over the long term beat the market, didn't like that. Understanding that buying and holding and a good investment is probably the best strategy, but I was impatient. I didn't want to wait till I was 70 to buy a car. I want to buy it now. So I was like, okay, well, what other things can I do? Well, back then, there weren't a lot of the things I'm going to talk about, or some of the things that I'm going to talk about. But after trying to check everything out and weigh my options and try different things, land investing is what I discovered. And as I do it, and as I learn about more and more about investing, I'm seeing how much better it is than every other thing out there, especially for those of us who aren't making millions and millions of dollars a year. Now, if you're making millions and millions of dollars a year, you're probably not listening to this. So I'm going to talk to you. Eventually, I'll be the guy making millions and millions of dollars a year. But guess what? Land investing still will be part of my portfolio. I'll just be able to expand more. So with that said, when I saw how easy it was to make money and make it fast, I'm like, only drug dealers know this power. Only drug dealers understand what I go through. So it's like, but I don't have to worry about getting in trouble with the law or getting shot at or, having to bang on them corners. So I'm like, all right, I think this is it. I mean, I really understand that now. Back then, I let some basically limiting beliefs stop me from doing this for a while. You guys know the story. Anyways, getting on to it. So before I begin into the actual content, let me tell you this. Number one, I am an investor, meaning I don't just do land. Land is my main thing, is my favorite thing, but I also have stocks. I'm also getting into other forms of real estate, and I'm also looking to start other businesses. So as an investor, my portfolio is starting to become more and more diverse. Most people are not investors. They are speculators, and I will get into that, what that actually means soon. All right, now, here are the common forms of investing that most people actually speculate with. One, as I mentioned, is stocks and bonds and things like that. Two, everybody's favorite hot child of the month, cryptocurrency. Three, traditional real estate. Some of you guys in this group found me because you're in traditional real estate and you wanted something different. You wanted an alternative. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Four, trading cards or and nowadays NFTs. So there's actual trading cards like baseball cards and Pokemon cards and things like that. But now there's NFTs, which are kind of like digital baseball cards or digital art. And yeah, so those are the four main vehicles that I'm seeing like coming up in social media right now. So what I want to do is give you kind of pros and cons of each. But here's the thing to remember. Everybody knows of a person who's made a significant amount of money actually doing one of those things. Oh, one of the fifth things is actually investing in an actual business, old school style. But yeah, anyways, but everybody knows someone that's actually did stocks, crypto, traditional real estate, NFTs, trading cards, investing in a traditional business or something else, starting their own business and made a lot of money. So I'm not saying that these vehicles don't work. I'm not saying they don't work for you or they don't work for me. I'm just saying I believe land is better, and I'm going to explain why. Now, maybe after I do, change things up and I'm at a different income bracket, maybe my opinion will change. But for now, I really like land, with the pros and the cons when I weigh them out. Now, first, let's look at stocks. Now, with stocks, what are the pros? Pros, well, you can make a lot of money. It's quote unquote easy, meaning you don't have to dig a ditch or do anything physical. You can do trading, day trading in the morning and be done for the rest of your day. You can see a lot of money quickly. I mean, we've all saw the movie Wolf of Wall Street, right? So the appeal is real. And it's also more of that era of traditional Wall Street, financial literacy, things of that nature. What are the cons though? The downsides? Well, guess what? As I mentioned earlier, when I do my own research, you can never beat the market. That means no matter what, even if you ride high for a little bit, eventually you'll come back down, and it always averages out. You're going to be making about 7 to 8% a year on your investment. Now, 7 to 8% a year isn't bad if you have $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. You can just put it in an index fund or something like that, and you're good. However, if you're like me and you were down and out and you only had a couple $100s to your name, 7 or 8% in a year is not going to be enough to help me pay my bills. Now, what did I need? Well, I needed a lot of money ASAP. So even if I only had $1,000, I invest that in the market and I did it right, and I didn't play the emotional roller coaster game. At the end of the year, I just made $80. Sure, that $80 will now be, can roll over to next year, but I need to actually pull that money out now to pay bills. So with that said, that's a downside for me. It takes you're not making a ton of money unless you have a ton of money already. If you did, you wouldn't be tripping off of this. Two, when you use stock, when you try to do the day trading thing, you end up losing more money. Not necessarily because your trades are bad, which obviously could happen, but taxes, trading fees, just the missed opportunities that you are because you're moving money around and you're letting your emotions go crazy. And let's not forget that feeling of like, am I going to lose it? Am I not? I don't know about you, but I like sleeping at night, not worrying about it. So that's a con to me. I don't know if you guys agree, but that's a con. Number three, most people will do best by investing in an index fund. But because we hear about the Warren Buffetts of the world, we hear about the big investors out there, we want to play that game. And guess what? That emotional roller coaster makes us lose money. And the things that we should be doing, we don't. The buy and hold strategy is probably the best when it comes to stock investing, but we don't want to do that. Looking into dividend stocks, a good option. Guess what? We don't want to do that. We want to put all our money on black, roll, on that roulette table and hope we make it big. That's speculation, folks. Number four, we have to learn how to evaluate a business, their P&L statement, their quarterly financials, and all types of other stuff. There's a lot of hard work to actually be a good stock investor, but guess what? We don't want to do that. We say it's too much work. And honestly, it is. It's not easy. It's not easy to learn these things, to learn about the leadership of a company, to understand their direction, to see the trends of the market, to make sure that the companies that we're investing in are doing the right thing that's going to promote long-term stability and growth and not short-term profits. This is why certain people don't do well with stock markets, and that's why they keep trying to trade their money and why they wonder why they keep coming up short. Now, I don't know about you, But with all that said, I don't have those problems with land investing. I'm gonna go to the pros and all that with land investing. But so far, is this making sense? Is there any other pros and cons I missed out on stocks? Put them in the comments below. I always love learning about this stuff. Again, I invest in stocks too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't do it, but land is my favorite. All right. Now, I mentioned a bit about speculators because we're going to talk about that with cryptocurrency right now. What a speculator is basically a person, you know what? I'm not even going to try to give you the layman's term. I'm just going to read something off of Wikipedia. Speculation is the purchase of an asset, a commodity, some goods, or real estate with the hope it will become more valuable in the near future. So there's no plan. How are you going to base a plan off of hope? All right. Now it goes on. In finance, speculation is also the practice of engaging in risky financial transactions in an attempt to profit from short-term fluctuations in the market value of a tradable financial instrument, rather than attempting to profit from the underlying financial attributes embodied in the instrument, such as addition, return of investments, or dividends. So what it's saying is you're trying to make money off of that instability instead of using the actual asset itself to make money. So if you buy a garbage stock and people are, like GameStop was, or, all the meme stocks, right? Now, traditionally, you will want to just have that business do well. So then you'll make a dividend, or your shares are worth more because more people find it valuable. But when there's fluctuation because people are trying to drive the stock price up just to squeeze out short investors or something like that, you're hoping something happens. You don't have any real control, all right? And basically you're guessing. It's gambling. You're in that casino, want those dopamine highs and lows. This is why I'm bringing this up when it comes to cryptocurrency. Now, obviously, crypto, I believe, is going to be here to stay. I think cryptocurrency is the real deal. Which cryptocurrency to rule them all, I don't know. But the current state of cryptocurrency in this wild, wild west, I'm not going to touch with a 10-foot pole. Now, you may like it. That's great. I'm not here to say that it's terrible, but here are the cons for me. The pros are obvious, right? A lot of people are getting in early. You can make a lot on your investment. A lot, like Bitcoin, for example, is shooting up at, times where, if you had, I don't know, $100 in like 2011, by now that $100 is probably worth billions of dollars. I don't know, right? So the obvious is the things are there, and you don't got to do a lot of work. You just got to guess the right coin and do it. People can say, oh, well, I've done my research and this and that. Okay, wonderful. But at the end of the day, it's still a risky investment because of all the things I'm about to talk about. First off, it's the instability. I can't deal with that. I don't want to have to go to bed and wake up the next morning learning that my investment is wiped out for something stupid, something I had no control over, something I couldn't foresee. That's just not how I roll. Some people like to do that. That's cool. I'm not judging. It's just not what I like to do. Now, I heard a stat recently. Now, listen to this. 80% of ICOs means initial coin offerings, basically a new cryptocurrencies being out and people can buy and invest in, are a scam. 80% were a scam. 80%. 8 out of 10 new coin offerings were a scam. Now, listen, this was in a report in 2018 from the Status Research Group, investigated approximately 1,500 ICOs. Number one, that's a lot. And then from that sample, 78% of those projects were identified as scams, collectively valued at $1.3 billion. Most people want to get in early on these cryptocurrencies, so then they jump on the ground floor, and guess what? A lot of them dead, gone. All right, now maybe things are different 3 years later. I don't know. Don't need to find out. Now, Bitcoins or just cryptocurrency in general, they're not widely accepted. I don't know about you. I can't go to Safeway or Vons or whatever your grocery store chain is and pay for food with cryptocurrency. I can't go to, I don't know, a car dealership and buy a car in cryptocurrency. No matter what you do, you're going to have to reconvert that money back into actual money that you can actually spend. Now, for some people, it's just a game for them. Cool. Other people are saying cryptocurrency is the future and is this and that. Maybe it is, but maybe the future is not going to be as a currency, but just the blockchain technology. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Obviously, if you have cryptocurrency, you have some kind of digital wallet, guess what? It can be lost, stolen, destroyed, and that's it. Your money's gone. Sure, that can happen with your actual cash, But in general, we have our cash in the banks. It's going to take a lot more for us to just to lose our wallet, to lose actual money that's in an actual other type of investment. I don't know about you. I've never lost a piece of land. Even if I forget where the deed is, the county knows where the land is. The county knows that I own it. So I can always do whatever I want with it because it's mine and there's record out there that I own it. Okay, there's no buyer protection with crypto. Sometimes the anonymity makes it great, but there's no buyer protection. Actually, there's a couple other things, this depends, but in general, it's too risky for me. I don't have those same risks with land, and I can experience the similar type of spikes in value just because I'm buying assets for pennies on the dollar. Now, some of you guys may be really big into crypto. So if I said anything that was wrong, if I said anything you disagree with, let me know in the comments. I'm glad to learn more. Again, I'm not against crypto. It's just not something for me. I'm not interested in it. The reasons why I just mentioned it are why I'm not interested in it. But hey, maybe your arguments can give me some different information. Okay, cool. Let's move on. So we talked about stock, talked about crypto. What about traditional real estate? Well, this one's a little bit easier, right? The barrier to entry is really high because you're going to need a lot of money to buy, to rehab, to invest. Hell, even if you're doing wholesaling, you still need to spend a ton of time finding that deal and finding buyers on the other end who's going to pay for that option contract, right? It just takes a lot out of you. And a lot of people go into debt trying to do real estate. Let's say you actually get a property to fix and flip. Well, number one, you need the money to buy the property. Number two, you need the money to actually do the fixing part. So contractors, materials, labor, time, etc. Number three, you got to list it on the market. Now, all those things cost time and money. Now, when you get really, really good at it, and sometimes maybe you can get your in and out in a couple months. Hey, that's pretty good. That rivals land. But I don't know about most people, but in land, my record is selling property in a couple of hours. $17,000, a couple of hours, done. I'm not sure you can do the same with the fix and flip. Probably with no fixing, maybe. Then it'll be the same thing I did. But in most cases, it takes longer. Heaven forbid there's a downtime in the housing market and no one wants to buy. Heaven forbid you over improve the property and now you won't ever make the amount of money you need to actually make a profit, right? And then if you actually took out a mortgage for that, now what if you're doing rental, right? How long is it going to take you just to break even on your investment? Yes, you're making a little bit of money every month, but now you got something you have to actively manage every single month. You have to worry about tenants, you got to worry about toilets breaking, you got to worry about termites and all the other things like that. There's all types of issues when you're renting. After years and years and years, you finally break even. Now you start to make some ROI on your investment. Now, if you could have the money to buy a big apartment building or something like that, maybe the math works out more in your favor. But again, that goes back to our original point. You need a lot of money up front. In land, I don't need a lot of money up front. I buy lots for under $1,000 all the time. Hell, when I'm buying expensive lots, I'm paying $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000. So there's always going to be something where I can easily afford to invest. If I don't have the money, guess what? I'll Uber for a couple weekends, sell some things around my home, pick up some more hours at the job, whatever. Boom, I got the money, I invest, I can turn that, whatever it is, 3 to 4 times my amount. I don't got to work hard ever again. Once that first investment pays off, I use that to roll into new investments. Boom, boom, boom. And I can make this a monthly thing where now it's my income, which is what I've done. Okay. Also, one last thing I forgot to mention about traditional real estate, it can be pretty complicated. So the different rules and regulations you need to, when you're buying and selling a house, when you're rehabbing, fixing, what's part of code, what's not part of code, having different contractors, engineers, city council people, all types of stuff, sign off on your permits, all that. Complication takes time. When I'm buying land, I don't got to do all that. It's raw land. It's just dirt. What are you going to do? What's to inspect? It is what it is. I can see right away what it's zoned. Sell it. Done. Bam. Can't necessarily do that and make a lot of money doing that with traditional real estate. All right. Anybody here in traditional real estate? Anybody want to educate me on some of the pros and cons that I missed? Let me know in the comments. So far, so good. You guys understanding why I'm land so much? Because I don't have these problems when it comes to land. All right, let's go into trading cards or NFTs. Now, the NFT thing, I'll talk more about that than trading cards, but they kind of both apply. running out of time too. Cool. NFTs, new and improving, super exciting. Recently read about something, some kind of goat or something. I forgot, some kind of image of something sold for like 2.8 million after it was purchased for 1,000. Insane ROI, insane amount of money, right? Gary Vee's really big in NFTs. A lot of people are jumping into that space. All right, I get why the excitement, but in my opinion, some of the cons are survivorship bias. Yes, I just talked about the guy that just invested 1,000 to make 2.8 million or whatever the crazy amount was. But how many other people invested in something and it didn't pay off and it will never pay off? We don't know. But I would imagine there's not a lot of people investing 1,000 and getting 2.8 million. Okay. Now, physical art, you can't digitize that properly. So, your Mona Lisa's out there or your Basquiat pieces or anything like that. You're not gonna be able to make that in NFT. And having physical access is what makes it actually rare because it's only one of one. An NFT, they can make more than one copy. They can make it limited series, et cetera, et cetera. So the value itself is uncertain. You don't know, right? Ask any NFT expert. It's hard for them to even quantify what the hell an NFT is, why it's valuable, why people should invest in it. That's not my words. This is from, I listen to podcasts where people are talking about NFTs, and when basic questions come up, they're having a hard time answering it. Or you ask one expert, they'll say one thing. You ask another expert, they say something completely different. I don't know about you, but land doesn't have that problem. I don't want those problems. I want my land to be what it's worth so I can sell it and get my money and move on, or hold on to it, let it accumulate in value and move on. All right. Now there's a small thing called the environmental cost, meaning like how much energy it takes to generate these NFTs, electricity and this and that. In some environmentals like that, some same thing with the blockchain and cryptocurrency. Just all the numbers and calculating to make all that stuff takes energy, and there's energy that we could be using for other things. Now, if we were like an all solar world or all like natural or renewable resources, this point becomes moot. But right now we're not. So I don't think it's a big deal, but it is something people mention. Anybody know anything else about NFTs? Because trading cards are similar, right? Unknown, uncertain value, survivorship bias, et cetera, et cetera. Anybody else see anything I've missed? Let me know. But so far, you're seeing why land is such a better investment. None of these problems from the popular things. All right. Last thing I'll go into before I talk about, I bring this home about why land is so great, and I'll spell it out. Let's say you want to buy a business. So not buying a stock, but buying an actual business. Number one, it's cost prohibitive. Most people can't afford to buy a business outright. Number two, you have all the downsides of investing, right? All the research you should be doing and all the things you should be doing. But now you actually got to, once you buy it, you're probably going to be running the business, or you got to pay somebody to run the business. So now you're kind of involved in the day-to-day. For some people, that's a bonus because they have control or they enjoy the work. But for most of us who are looking just to invest our money so we can grow it to live our dreams, may not be. I guess it depends on the business. And again, you got to be more of an expert to actually do that. Now, buying a business is great, I think, if you can do it, but most people can't do it. So that's, it's just a barrier of entry is way too high for most people. Now, here's the thing. We're going to talk about land real quick before I end this. Let me give you some of the cons, some of the things against land before I go into all the numerous pros. One, certain markets are oversaturated. You look at New Mexico and Colorado and stuff, a lot of people are trying to buy, sell land there. Granted, it doesn't stop people from doing it. People are still buying and selling there, so it must be working. So, but still, it can make things more difficult than it should, or it can intimidate a newer person getting into it. Two, there's no guaranteed path to making cash. You're like, basically, you got to sell it. How do you sell it? Right? It's not like, hey, if you do X, Y, and Z, you're guaranteed to sell. I can almost guarantee it, but I can't because it depends on the price. It depends on the area. It depends on a lot of stuff. Basically, did you do the research properly? If you don't do the research properly, you're going to have a tough time moving it for the price that you want. You got to put in effort to actually sell it. It's not like a stock where you just watch it and hope you invest in the right thing and you sell at the right time. Land, you got to put it out there. You got to advertise. You got to talk to people. You got to do sales. You got to do marketing, right? That takes effort. And in some cases, it takes money. Four, you got to talk to a lot of people. You got to talk to people to acquire property, and everybody you talk to is going to sell to you. You got to talk to people as you sell. Obviously, everybody you talk to is not going to buy from you. You got to talk to county officials, and there's a lot of people you want to talk to. Now, for me, it's not that big a deal, but sometimes that makes it tough. That means if you need to do something at midnight, you can't do it because you're not going to call like the county at midnight. I mean, I guess you can, but they're not going to be there. You're not going to talk to a buyer or seller at midnight. They're going to think you're high on crack cocaine. All right. So having to talk to people also shrinks the window of what you can or when you can do it, and then obviously what you can do and what you can do. And obviously you got to pay for more than just land, right? If you just had money to invest in land, that'd be one thing, but you need other things. You need different tools to help with the job. You need to send out mailers so you actually find the properties. You need to pay for, well, you don't need to pay for phone lines, but you probably want to. You don't want random people calling your real cell phone, right? And there's other costs, you know, to do your research and all that. So it's more than just land if you got to invest in. Right? Land itself caps out at a certain point, meaning some people say about 90 to 100,000 is about the limit of land you can get for a parcel. Others say it caps at around 250,000. But in the grand scheme of things, especially in real estate, that's small fries, small potatoes, right? For some people, they want to be rich quicker and they have more money to deploy. Land may not be their number one option. It'll still be a good thing, but it wouldn't be their number one option. Maybe they go into traditional real estate or buying a business because they have the capital to do that. And then like, if you really want to be rich, be a millionaire, you got to have a lot of volume of land, a lot of volume. It means tons of sales, tons of purchases. There's a lot of moving parts, but a couple guys are doing it. So it is definitely possible. Now, before I end this, what are the pros? Obviously, I kind of touched upon them as I was talking about the negatives of all these other popular forms of investing. The pros are beautiful. I had somebody email me, and I wish I wrote the name down. Jeremy, sorry for not getting your last name in here. Maybe you don't want your last name, but he wrote me this email saying land investing has a much lower barrier of entry and perceived risk, which is what keeps many out of investing in real estate, traditional real estate. Basically, more people can afford $400 or $500 or $1,000 to invest in a property than who can afford $80,000 to invest in a house, right? He also goes on to say, land investing is better than any other side hustle because it still teaches you the basics of real estate investing that will translate directly to working with improved properties should one choose to pursue that. Meaning, if you like land and you make some money in land, not only would it help you build up your capital so you can purchase a house or whatever to use for investment purposes, you can have such a better skill set when you are doing that because you've been doing so many land deals. But what else is good for land? Well, number one, the speed of getting paid. I mentioned earlier that I got paid in a couple of hours once. Sometimes, in general, it's about monthly, you hold a property for about a month, maybe two, if you're doing things right, you're getting paid. Number two, to go along with that, not only are you getting paid in about a month or two, but you're tripling or quadrupling your money. You're not getting 8% in a year. You're getting 300%, 400% in 60 days. I don't know any other investment besides the fluctuations of crypto and maybe Warren Buffett as a day trader that is doing such things. If you know of anything that's giving you 300 to 400% ROI in such a short amount of time, please list them because I want to get into those things too. Number three, land is very stable. It ain't like crypto where all of a sudden a property is worth $1 billion and now it's worth $10, right? Sure, property prices go up and down, but the amount that they go up and down is nowhere near the craziness of crypto or even some really risky stocks. Very stable, very stable. Not really much more to say about that. Number four, guess what? They're not making any more land. That makes it valuable. Unlike like stocks, they can make more stock, as in like you can dilute stocks. You know, like first you only offer maybe 10,000, and now you know what? I want more people to own stock. I'm going to add in another 100,000 stock shares or shares for the company. Now the first 10,000 people who have their stocks are diluted and worth a lot less. Can't do that with land. Land is land, right? They're not making more of it. All right. You can dilute a lot of stuff. You can flood the market with a lot of stuff. Hell, with cryptocurrency, if everybody's like, you know what, I don't want Bitcoin, I want to do Ethereum. Guess what happens to the price of Bitcoin? Now, if everybody leaves a town and makes it a ghost town, that land still has inherent value. Maybe not to the regular person, but there's still investors out there. There are still other people who want to live out there. There are still all types of people who will buy up that land. You're not going to have that with Bitcoin if everybody decides we don't like Bitcoin anymore, we're going to a different crypto. Or we don't like company X anymore, we're going to sell all of our stock in company X, and so they go bankrupt and they no longer exist, so we can buy company Y stock. You don't have that in land. Even in the worst case scenario, someone's going to buy it. That's the beauty of it. Land has been the symbol of wealth for probably since the beginning of human civilization, right? Think about it. Everything we need in life depends on land. We don't live in a fucking water. We don't live at sea. We need hard, solid land, good land to live on, to build our businesses on, to grow our food on. Without land, there is nothing. It is probably the most valuable resource besides like clean water and fresh air. I didn't even think about that. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. The business model of land investing is stupid easy. Even when you do it wrong, you still make money. How do I know that? Ask me how I was doing business when I first got started in 2017. Ask me. I wasn't doing a very good job and I still made money. All right. It's stupid easy. The stakes are super low. Look, if I lose $500, I'm not going to be happy about it, but it ain't going to ruin me. If I lose $1,000, I'm not going to be happy about it, but it ain't going to ruin me. If I lose 3,000, I'm going to be pretty upset, but I'll live to see another day. You're not going to see me getting ready to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge because I lost $3,000, right? When other people do other forms of investing, they really can lose everything. Everything. I don't like those risks. I don't like that at all. Finally, many ways to make money in land. Obviously, you have flat, you can flip it with cash sales. You can do terms deals, meaning you're selling it and you're getting monthly installments. And now you're getting passive income for a couple of years for one piece of property. That person disappears and they stop paying you. Guess what? You keep their money, you sell it to somebody else. So the money keeps coming in and it just starts over, right? You can lease the land to solar companies, billboards, you know, whoever needs land for a reason. If you own it, you can lease it. People are doing it for camping now, for campsites, glamp sites, all that stuff. You can lease the land. You can develop it your damn self. Build a house on it, rent it out, build your own house on it, you know, put a slip and slide. I don't care. Do something with it, right? There's so much flexibility in land that it makes it just so desirable. So many people can find different ways to make money with it. So with that said, you can see why land is my favorite, and I think it's the best investment, in my opinion anyways. As I said before, if my financial situation changes for now, I'm a billionaire, I'm still going to do land, but maybe my favorite investment would be maybe bonds, because now it's very low risk and I ain't got to do any work. Put my money into a bond, let it mature, get my money out. You know, that's what the very rich people do, right? I ain't got to work hard to make my money. But yeah, last thing to say, these are just my opinions. If you really want to be considered an investor, like I said before, and not just a speculator, you need a diverse portfolio. I have land, I have stocks. I'm going to get into other forms of real estate soon. And then who knows what else I do, right? But you have to see the world as an investor to understand the ups and downs, the pros and cons and all that, to make sure you're actually getting into something that's going to help you achieve your financial dreams. Hopefully you understand what I'm talking about and why you see this is so important, why I urge so many people to get into this. Stop sitting on the sidelines and actually take action. Stop having that shiny object syndrome and wondering and researching forever and ever. You know, it's basically a polite way to say I'm too afraid to make a goddamn move, so I'm going to be doing research. Fuck that. Get some money. Go do some Ubering if you don't have it. Uber for 2 weekends. Get enough to buy some property and make some damn money. Being a real investor. Stop speculating. Stop guessing. Stop waiting. Or continue to wait. I'll just take the property that would have been in your price range. I'll just buy it myself. That's up to you. All right. Hopefully this is valuable to you. Glad to share my opinion. Again, hey, I got something wrong. I got a point I didn't consider. Please let me know in the comments. I would love to read about it. This is how I learn. This is how I grow. But this is Coach Vic signing off. I appreciate you guys. Peace.